So I think I forgot one part about the bike showing up to you, which is the front wheel will be off. So this, I think it's going to be a little bit tricky at first, just because you probably don't have this type of lever on your wheels. This is just a cam lever quick release, or quick release most people call it. So this little lever here just pivots, swings all the way around. When you loosen it, the wheel will just come straight down out of the bike. What you want to do when you're putting this back on is you want to think about, you have 180 degrees of rotation. Typically, the first, I can't reach my hand all the way around from here, but the first 90 degrees, you won't really feel any resistance. Right about when you hit here, so perpendicular to the wheel, you'll feel it start to tighten up. And then the rest of the push, it continues to tighten. So if I, let me take my other hand. So it's tight enough that it's a little tricky to do here just because the wheel's kind of floppy. But the last little bit should be hard enough that it's a little bit tricky to do with one hand. And it's nice to kind of grab the spokes and push in here underneath your thumb. You know, most guys are strong enough, you don't really need a whole lot of help, other than you need to hold the wheel straight, which I can't because, you know, the camera's in my other hand. But as I'm pulling on this, when I get to 90 degrees here, it will probably loosen and this wheel will just sort of fall out of the bike. Let's see if that's the case. So, round about there, I can feel there's pretty much no tension on it. That's about where it hits. The rest of this is all, you know, floppy. So to adjust that, you have on the other side this nut. This nut just threads onto the axle. Standard right hand thread, no big deal. The only thing that's tricky about this is just getting the bike still, holding the wheel, everything all at the same time. And then you need to think about your brake rotor here. That rotor has to fit in between the brake pads. So that can be a little bit hard. Probably for you, by setting the bike upside down on the ground, that'll make everything pretty straightforward. So I'll sort of show you how this comes out. See if I got it loose enough. You can hear it kind of rattling around. I think it doesn't want to come out because it's sitting down there on that base. So I'm going to set the camera up on the counter here. And let me see if that's in view. It is. So I've loosened my quick release lever. And now, actually, because this fork has some, I forgot about these tabs at the bottom, you actually need to loosen it a little bit more. You can either unscrew it from this side or from the adjusting that on the other side. After probably 3 or 4 turns, this wheel will just come straight down out the bottom. Again, your easiest thing without a stand is to do it with the bike upside down. But I'm looking at this really carefully, getting the brake lever, or sorry, the brake rotor right in between those pads, and then it slides up in. So you can kind of see that last little bit of up in there. If I tighten it right now, it's not tight enough because of those tabs. So what I have to do is I'll align this where I want it to be in the end. I'm tightening on the other side, you know, clockwise a few times, and now I sort of see how it goes. Loose, loose, and it gets tight. Not at all, so it's still loose all the way across. So I'll tighten it a little bit more. Starts to tighten up here at the very end, a little too far. Tighten it a little more. Now it starts to get tight, right about 90 degrees. So pointing straight at the camera. So from there, push it a little with my thumb, grab it with the spokes, push it with my hand, and tighten that down. That's good and snug. You want to try and get this completely parallel with the ground. So once you have it there, what you can do is set the bike on the ground and then, you know, move this around a little bit as you need to. That also helps to make sure by sitting the bike down on the ground, it will push the wheel up into the bottom of the fork, and that helps make sure that it's straight. You can sometimes, if you get all, you can actually get it sort of crooked. And so now the wheel actually is not sitting up and down in the fork, and when you try and ride, your brakes are rubbing and all sorts of craziness. So that's obviously not so great. So that looks like about the right angle, give or take a little bit. And then when you spin it, then it spins pretty freely, no problems.